downstairs for breakfast, right? And the entire family was downstairs except for my dad. And we were all waiting for him to come down. We hear some shuffling upstairs, and all of a sudden, looking at the stairs, comes down this one guy in underwear. Nobody recognized him. Followed by my dad with this stern look on his face. And he comes down to the bottom floor. We're all just like frozen. We have no idea what to do. Like, who's this guy, right? And he gets to the bottom of the stairs. He looks at all of us. And I'm kind of like, oh, I kind of recognize this guy. And then he looks at my mom and he's like, my mom's a kindergarten teacher on the island. And he's just like, oh, you're my kindergarten teacher. And he's like maybe like 20, 25, 26 years old at this point, just almost buck naked, just in his underwear. Comes downstairs and he's like totally disorientated. And he's like, oh, you're the kindergarten teacher. I guess he stumbled into our place because we left the doors unlocked. And yeah, he just ended up upstairs. He went to bed and woke up the next day.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
The weirdest encounter I've ever had with a stranger. So when I was living in Kitsilano, I had parked my car in front of my house. And there was this trend that, you know, high schoolers would sit in my car, and I woke up at one point at 2 a.m. and I saw them, so I ran down and I was like, get off my car. They did not care. And I continued to sit, and randomly an unhomed, homeless man from like halfway down the block saw this happening, ran up and scared them away. And I turned to him and I was like, thank you so much. And then we just had a conversation for 2 minutes, talking about our lives, and then I went back to bed. And that was great. He helped me out.
All right, so what is your weirdest encounter you've ever had with a stranger?
Oh boy. So, when I was like 22, I went to Las Vegas with a friend for the first time, and he really wanted to go to a nightclub, so I said fine. So we're entering the nightclub, and there was this guy, and everyone was taking pictures of him, and like, I was like, oh my god. So I went up to him, and I started to open a conversation with him, and I had no idea who he was, and it ended up being Stevie Wonder. I had no idea he was like legally blind. So I like tried to like have a conversation with him, and he was just kind of like walking closer and closer to me, and he couldn't really like see me, obviously. So we kind of like not we didn't hit each other, but we're like, it was just really awkward because like he was just like walking closer and closer to me. I'm like, oh my god, what's happening here? And then my friend is like, did you not know who that guy was? I was like, no. He's like, it was Stevie Wonder. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, it was like so awkward in a way, but it was a super cool experience, and I really like enjoyed it. So yeah, that was my story.
Okay, so I don't know if this is the weirdest, but I was waiting in line at Tim Hortons once, and it was super busy. There was only one other table there available, and this guy started chatting with me in a lineup, and he was probably, you know, like in his mid-50s or something, and so I was a little bit hesitant at first, but it turns out he's a social worker, which is similar to what I do, and we ended up having a really nice conversation and sharing a table, and yeah, I was surprised because obviously being a woman, you're more hesitant to talk to men when they approach you, but it turned out to be a good encounter.
Yeah, so I was hanging out, actually I was down in South America, this bar that didn't seem to have a lot of people at all, and I'd been traveling already for like a couple months, and it was like, because you're from Canada, you meet someone else from Canada, and right away you're like, ooh, do you know like so-and-so?
Yeah.
It's like, no, Canada's huge, we don't have a lot of people, so it was kind of over that game by that point, and then we were playing pool with these guys, and they're like, oh, you're from Toronto. I was like, yeah, I'm from Ottawa, like Quebec, like I kind of like, maybe we know some people, but let's like put that off for later. And so we hung out with these guys for like 2 hours, and finally they're like, hey, let's play the name game. And I was like, okay, I don't know, like, do you guys know, I said my best friend's names. He's like, yeah. I was like, what? I just like freaked out, and my good friend was like across the bar, and I just like ran over to her. I was like, he knows Claire Neary, and we realized like we knew like all of like intimate with friends. We just somehow I had never met this one person, so we ended up like traveling together for like a week yeah, it was just kind of a fun, like, stranger. Then all of a sudden, like, as soon as we found that out, I was like, you're my good friend.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I met someone with the same name, same hobbies. We bonded. We exchanged LinkedIn information, and he never contacted me again.
Okay, so when we were sitting at Dairy Queen one day, this lady who was like drunk and was just probably on drugs or something, she just came up to us randomly and started talking to us and was like asking like us random questions and told us that if we kept eating this ice cream and we got fat, that men wouldn't like us anymore, and that we should continue going to the gym because then we'd be ugly if we didn't go to the gym anymore. And she kept telling us that we were still like really beautiful, but we should still keep working out because then we'll become ugly. And then she wouldn't leave. She kept talking to us.
Like whenever like she'd come up to us, and then it looked like she'd be walking away, but then she'd come back again.
She wanted you to throw the ice cream.
She just kept coming back. Each time we thought she was gonna walk away, she just kept coming back and like repeating herself. We're like, oh, like okay, like that's kind of odd, but yeah.
Okay, what is the weirdest encounter you've ever had with a stranger?
So this lady had her boobs done and she wanted to make sure that they felt natural. So I fold them. And they were.
So we were on holidays in Portugal and we wanted to go for dinner in a restaurant. We got to the restaurant and I asked this girl, could we get a table for 2 people? She turned around and said, I'm only 12, I don't work here, so pretty embarrassing on my part, but yeah.
I was walking down the street with my partner and some man came up to us within a meter, or within a foot and said, we aren't 6 feet apart, and got angry at us.
So one time when we were downtown, Vancouver, we were stopped at a stop sign, and this man pulled over on his car and he was yelling at us to get in, and he was yelling at us to get in the car.
It was so scary. I was
We
like,
didn't know what to do, so we were just yelling and we were like, oh, okay, bye.
And then our friend was just like, woo, because she didn't hear him, and it was like, okay.
So I was getting a train with 3 friends from Amsterdam to Berlin in Germany. It was an overnight train to save some costs on accommodation. And we were having some beers to make it through because it's not usually the most comfortable. And we didn't realise there was someone else in our shared cabin. He was a Dutch guy going to Germany on business, until we were making a lot of noise, having some laughs, having some beers, and he stood up and told us all to shut up, shut up, shut up. So it was pretty funny. Strange encounter.
I'm sorry. I was walking with my mom. My mom went in the store to get some apples. And I was just like left outside. My mom like trusted me. And then all of a sudden, this like bright light from the sky shot down onto me. And I got like swooped up into the spaceship. And I was like, yo, what the heck? Where am I? And it was a UFO. And to this day, I'm still there on Earth.
Turn it to an ocean, let me float around. Eyes closed.